Jimmy Kimmel. We're going to be talking about Jimothy Kimmel, okay? Jimothy Kimmel defends free speech, takes aims at Trump in Return to Late Night show. And obviously, there's a lot to talk about on this front. I think it's like, it's just, there are parts of it that I thought was so lame. For those of you who don't know, Jimmy Kimmel was taken off the air due to pressure from the administration in a direct violation of the First Amendment. The FCC does not have any power over the content beyond like censorship over slurs and things like that. And yet the head of the FCC, Brendan Carr, who in the past had openly admitted that the FCC has no power for censorship due to the political nature of the commentary, decided to take unprecedented action and say, well, we don't like this guy, we don't like what he had to say, and his like incredibly timid monologue about Donald Trump not really giving a shit about Charlie Kirk's death, and said we're going to do this the easy way or the hard way when referencing Jimmy Kimmel's monologue and demands to take him off the air. Let's take a look at what has taken place since then.
And Gail, good morning to you. Last night's show was emotional. It was passionate. Ultimately, it was a tribute to free speech. Jimmy Kimmel has hosted nearly 4,000 shows. Last night's was perhaps his most consequential.
This motherfucker cried, bro. He cried. On the one hand, it is a direct shot at free speech. Being in the crosshairs of this administration in this way is not great, no matter what your financial status looks like. On the other hand, I can't, as someone who said, I defend Jimmy Kimmel vociferously, unconditionally, it does piss me off a little bit. It makes me a little bit resentful, because while it's good that public pushback caused the corporate overlords to reconsider leaning into the administration's ridiculous demands, I wish that level of discontent would be applied to issues of consequence beyond a popular and wealthy comedian getting taken off his late night show. Make no mistake, I'm not saying this is irrelevant, okay? I'm not saying that at all. Your hate for the libs is a bit much. Not everyone is as dedicated as you, or at least us, towards politics, no matter how much you would like it to be. Jimmy is kind of a normie. Can a man not say there are also, in the exact same vein, there are also other victims that are being unjustly prosecuted by this administration in the exact same way? Just because many liberals don't give a shit about that doesn't change that reality. My goal is to try and get those people to understand that Mahmoud Khalil is also important. Okay? We cannot just drop those who are more defenseless than the likes of Jimmy Kimmel. That's it. Because if this administration is still reactive to the pressure campaigns that are launched, then obviously when there is a lack of pressure against certain groups of people, when they are also unjustly prosecuted for their First Amendment, for exercising their First Amendment right to speech, then you're basically training the government to think, yeah, it's okay if we just clap a couple migrants. Immigrants are not worthy of the same protections. That only allows the administration to directly erode the First Amendment, and they will come after American citizens once again. They shouldn't come after non-citizens. Regardless, the Constitution protects them as well. This was a perfect demonstration of my anger as well, where CNN's Jake Tapper went on the Seth Meyers show and said it was pretty much the most direct infringement by the government on free speech that I've seen in my lifetime.
All right, Jimmy Kimmel, he's a friend of both of ours.
Yeah.
You know him, I know him. We know he's a good person. Obviously, this news is very exciting. But what was your original take on how this all went down starting last week?
I mean, I thought it was pretty much the most direct infringement by the government on free speech that I've seen in my lifetime.
Yeah.
That's a crazy thing for Jake Tapper to say. Your liberal normie coworkers thinking this way requires you to go, hey, by the way, there's actually, a lot worse shit happening as well. Just so you know, if you're pissed off about Jimmy Kimmel, wait till you find out about this or that. Jake Tapper knows about Mahmoud Khalil. He knows about Rameza Öztürk. He knows about Mohsen Mahdawi. He knows about numerous non-citizens with documentation, okay? Migrants with a proper documentation to be here, getting locked up, detained. Do you understand? He knows that. He's covered it.
Networks are allowed to cancel shows. It happens all the time. But this was the FCC chairman saying, local affiliates, it's time for you to say you're not going to air Kimmel anymore. And then Nexstar, which the largest owner of local affiliates, needs approval from Brendan Carr himself to let this merger go through. Yes, sir. How high do you want me to jump, sir? They do it, and it's just insane.
Yeah,
it's just insane.
It is I mean, we don't know the details as we're talking about, if any sort of agreement was reached, or if ABC just is sort of like, this was an error in judgment. But I sort of look forward to seeing, obviously, how Jimmy responds. That'll be the most interesting piece of this.
Yeah, and well, look, I don't know why Disney and Bob Iger ultimately made the right decision and stood for free speech. They didn't initially, and that would have been the second example, because we all saw what happened with our friend Stephen Colbert and Sherry Redstone and Paramount with a different merger and a different pressure point that the government has. And we'll see what happens when they come for Comcast, and they'll see what happens when they come for Warner Brothers Discovery, and maybe you and I will be drawing comic books.
I'm worried about you.
Mahmoud Khalil was thrown in prison for 3 months for protesting Gaza, and the day ABC pulled Kimmel off the air for 2 episodes, a judge upheld Khalil's deportation. Rumeza Öztürk was kidnapped off the street and imprisoned for writing an op-ed on Gaza. I feel like I'm going insane, says Adam Johnson. The class solidarity in this clip could power the sun for trillions of years is truly obscene. The most important rule to avoid all of these hazards, per usual, is to first and foremost make sure you are in the club. First, they came for the Gaza protesters, and I said nothing because I'm a racist company man who mostly thinks they had it coming. The Biden administration also did this to Sam Husseini, for example. This was under the Biden administration. This was a direct attack on free press, on press freedoms, and that wasn't also covered. That also did not see the same level of scrutiny.
It was a triumphant return for late-night host Jimmy Kimmel.
I'm happy to be here tonight with you.
An emotional Kimmel took the stage for the first time since his nearly week-long suspension following comments he made about the assassination of conservative activist Charlie Kirk.
That it was never my intention to make light of the murder of a young man. I don't think there's anything funny about it.
In his monologue, Kimmel took aim at his critics, saying he felt lucky to live in a country where he could speak freely.
This show is not important. What is important is that we get to live in a country that allows us to have a show like this.
I want to see the whole monologue. I want to watch the entire thing here. I will say this much. Okay, listen to me. Mainstream liberal voices' inability to address egregious violations of the First Amendment when the targets are people that they don't consider to be important is truly an issue, because it allows the permission structure of the administration to expand. These guys didn't go after Jimmy Kimmel first. They went after those voiceless people first, or people that are not exactly considered. Do you understand? So when Seth Meyers or Jake Tapper or numerous other people like Chris Hayes, when they're having these conversations and they make it seem like this is the first shot against people's freedom of speech, they basically allow that permission structure to stay. They allow some targets to be valid. It is upon all of us to ensure that this is not the case. It's on all of us to talk about all of the other people that aren't, famous millionaire comedians. And the reason why we have to do that is because this administration is not going to stop. Is it a better country to live in if your neighbors who aren't super famous comedians get packed up for expressing popular discontent? Is that a better country to live in? No. So it is upon all of us, especially those with a platform of prominence that speak to a lot of these liberals, to also correct the record. Do you see what I mean?
Jimmy Kimmel coming back to late night television.
ABC chose to bring back their low rating nighttime host.
We are in for a monologue that will be a marker in late night show history.
It's going to be in a moment.
Yeah, no question, a huge moment in American history.
It's one of the most pivotal moments in broadcast history.
He will be delivering what is being dubbed the most anticipated monologue in late night in years.
Maybe we should
change?
Yeah.
From Hollywood, it's Jimmy Kimmel Live.
Like, I wish when Jimmy Kimmel came out and was like, listen, I'm not the first person that this administration has done this to. I'm the person with the biggest profile that this administration has done this to. And therefore, we have to keep up. We have to keep resisting the administration. We have to. We are a nation of laws. We are a nation of rules. The First Amendment must be protected. And it must be protected not just for people like myself, but for people like Mahmoud Khalil as well, who on the day of my cancellation on the day of my suspension was slated to be deported. Like, that's crazy. Too pro-Palestine, no. I know, but like, this is a popular position. People need to be more bold.
I'm not sure who had a weirder 48 hours, me or the CEO of Tylenol. That our government cannot be allowed to control what we do and do not say on television, and that we have to stand up to it. I've been hearing a lot about what I need to say and do tonight, and the truth is, I don't think what I have to say is going to make much of a difference. If you like me, you like me. If you don't, you don't. I have no illusions about changing anyone's mind. But I do want to make something clear because it's important to me as a human, and that is, you understand that it was never my intention to make light of the murder of a young man. I don't think there's anything funny about it. I posted a message on Instagram.
Bro, he loves crying, dude. He does. He does. He does love crying. It's ironic because a lot of the hatred that people have for Jimmy Kimmel is quite literally because he cried on camera about his son's like diagnosis or something, right? Didn't his son have cancer or something during COVID? And they hated that. That's why they never forgave him. All of this like anger and resentment from the right towards Jimmy Kimmel actually comes from him crying one time. His son had a heart condition, yeah. Which is so crazy that they just like, they never forgave him for that. They were like, this guy, because he was like a big COVID guy. And part of that was because his son had like a heart condition and he was scared for him. And he like, you know, showed real weakness and humanity for a moment. It is still funny to me that he's just like that. I mean, this is, you know, the heart condition had more to do with the health insurance, I'm pretty sure. Oh, wait, that makes it even crazier. They were mad because he was crying about health insurance and shit. God damn, Republicans are such monstrous animals, dude. No. Well, I don't remember that. I remember it being something COVID related.
I posted a message on Instagram on the day he was killed, sending love to his family and asking for compassion, and I meant it, and I still do. Nor was it my intention to blame any specific group for the actions of what it was obviously a deeply disturbed individual. That was really the opposite of the point I was trying to make, but I understand that to some that felt either ill-timed or unclear, or maybe both. And for those who think I did point a finger, I get why you're upset. If the situation was reversed, there's a good chance.
I wish he had more comedy chops, man. I wish he had more comedy chops and was like, y'all are crazy. And he just blistered the admin, you know, and was like, turned around and literally was like, listen, this is a message for all the Republicans. If you get rid of me and I don't know, put like Benny Johnson in my stead, do you think that your pockets are going to hurt any less? Wake up. He has an incredible opportunity to address the nation here. He can just turn around and be like, wake up. Yeah, you don't like me. Who gives a shit? I don't like plenty of people. Understand why this administration decided to exercise some kind of petty vengeance against someone like myself. And then he did the compilation of all the Charlie Kirk AI videos, you know, and be like, do you think that's respectful to Charlie Kirk? I don't think so. Nobody seemingly gives a shit about Charlie Kirk. They just want to yell at you. They want to divide us on some invisible political boundary because every single person, maybe not myself because I'm a super wealthy comedian, my name is Jimmy Kimmel, but every single person that's tuning in has economic anxieties and frustrations. And they were so frustrated that they voted again for this buffoon. And this buffoon that has come into power has created this unique, unstable environment that is not addressing those economic frustrations at all. So, in the absence of offering any sort of positive change to make sure that your housing is stable, to make sure that your grocery prices are more affordable, they're just going to keep doing dumb shit like this. And if you don't wake up to the reality, before you know it, you're not going to be able to afford anything, okay? And you're just going to be sitting around angry, hoping that there's, I guess, more Benny Johnsons on late night television, as though that's going to do anything for you.
Should the government be allowed to regulate which podcasts the cell phone companies and Wi-Fi providers are allowed to let you download to make sure they serve the public interest? You think that sounds crazy? No! 10 years ago, this sounded crazy. Brendan Carr, the chairman of the FCC, telling an American company we can do this the easy
This stuff is good. This is good. This is good stuff. He's like, this is the meat of the argument.
way or the hard way, and that these companies can find ways to change conduct and take action on Kimmel, or there's going to be additional work for the FCC ahead, in addition to being a direct violation of the First Amendment, is not a particularly intelligent threat to make in public. Ted Cruz said he sounded like a mafioso. Although, I don't know, if you want to hear a mob boss make a threat like that, you have to hide a microphone in a deli and park outside in a van with a tape recorder all night long. This genius said it on a podcast. Brendan Carr is the most embarrassing car Republicans have embraced since this one. And that's saying something.
Anyway, that's it. It's all right. I mean, there's good parts in there, and then there's like cringe parts in there. I can't believe ABC Fake News gave Jimmy Kimmel his job back. The White House was told by ABC that his show was canceled. Something happened between then and now because his audience is gone and his talent was never there. Why would they want someone back who does so poorly, who's not funny, and he puts the network in jeopardy by playing 99% positive Democrat garbage? He is yet another arm of the DNC, and to the best of my knowledge, that would be a major illegal campaign contribution. I think we're going to test ABC out on this. Let's see how we do. Last time I went after them, they gave me $16 million. This one sounds even more lucrative. A true bunch of losers. Let Jimmy Kimmel rot in his bad ratings. ABDNC. It's no longer ABC. It's ABDNC. Of course, it drew record ratings in his return from suspension, but that's a given. But once again, Donald Trump like openly expressing his anger and resentment that they are not doing his bidding. And what do you say? I mean, this I guess this kind of is like reminiscent of the petty grievances demonstrated by former tyrants, you know? It's just how I think when people have awesome power with no setbacks, with no checks whatsoever, they just kind of lean into this petty shit. It's just, this is another instance of the Turkification of America. As I've talked about quite a bit, Erdogan, his first act in a country that doesn't have free speech anyway, was to literally sue cartoonists and satirists for depicting him as an animal, like putting his face on top of animals. Now he arrests en masse any kind of political opposition he sees fit, including active politicians that are very popular. So it takes a while to get there, but this is why I am very fearful, and this is precisely the reason why I was talking about the Jimmy Kimmel stuff in the way that I did, talking about the dangers of this kind of thing, no matter how silly it seems, while also hoping to bring more people, now that they are paying attention to the censorship regime, bring more people on board to help them recognize that we have tremendous corporate consolidation in the media, and there are certain things that you are not allowed to say regardless, and Jimmy Kimmel basically demonstrated that. No statements on Israel whatsoever in this circumstance, because it's like that is the one area that you can't really speak out against. Even though it doesn't matter, there is a lot of motion in that direction, and it would be great for these guys to recognize that.